We're back.
Woo!
Recording again.
In progress.
Yeah.
It always says recording in progress, and I want to be like, okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you for letting me know.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I just have to turn off this like blaring light in the background. There we go. I'm showing my house right now because it's for sale. So like all of the lights are always on and like it's clean right now, which is weird. So very strange. So the audience, the people are watching that can see this. And then did you put something in the chat as well or something?
I put a link in the chat for you if you want access to this as well. I'm guessing by the time these are online, we will have pulled it so that it's not anyone with the link can edit it.
Okay. Yeah, that would not be good. Please don't edit our plot.
Yeah.
I will, if you're okay with it, I'll probably just let you type in the
that's fine
thing. So we're not doing both at the same time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
So yeah, if you're just joining in or you've missed some of what we've been doing, this is our last week of plotting before we actually start drafting. I mean, we're still going to be plotting things a lot, I'm sure.
As we go. Yeah.
But yeah, this is our last planned plotting exclusive meeting. So this is exciting. We're going to be plotting out at least the first couple scenes, and then we'll see like how long that takes. We haven't really talked about like how detailed each of us likes our scenes to be plotted.
I thought that was a good thing to talk about live. I kind of swing wildly about depending on what project I'm doing. I do pick at it a lot, which is like just before I went live, I was telling Maisie, I'm like re-editing, like I've been talking nonstop about this Druid book that I'm writing, which is just like I said, I've been talking about it for ages. And now I'm just like, oh shit, it's not a Druid book anymore. It's like completely, I've just completely scrapped the Druids and they're like something else now. And yeah, because it's just because I just constantly tinker until it's something completely different. I will stop the presses, so to speak, though, if I'm doing that. Like I don't like drafting and tinkering because you will, write something and then have to scrap it. So
yeah, for sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I can go either way. I write the fastest when I have a pretty detailed idea of what's going to happen in the scene. I don't necessarily need all of that like before I sit down to write that day. But it is always like I need a little bit to go on, and then I'll sit down. And usually when I start the scene, I'll just like do like a few paragraphs of, okay, this is what's going to happen in the scene. This and then this and then this. Yeah.
I can never sit down with just like, I don't know, with no idea. I definitely have to have like I think what we're doing now, like we're going to sit down and we're going to sort of hash out what the first two scenes, the opening scene and then the second scene, like what that's going to look like. I think that's normally actually what I do is I'll sit down and be like, okay, maybe one scene ahead. Cause like we have to do two scenes because then you and I can both write something. But it'll be interesting to see, because like I said, everything is different.
Yeah. I'm looking now in my vampire book, it was like 2 to 3 paragraphs, very short paragraphs of like, this is what's going to happen. This is who is in the scene. So make sure all of these people are in it. And then I have there's like the inspector, there's like little notes. And I put a section here for miscellaneous notes because I do like, sometimes I have little snippets of dialogue or like, oh, I want to add some foreshadowing. Don't forget, put that in this.
Right. That's a good idea. Yeah, I have, it's funny because since we did, everyone who is watching, all 2 of you, if you have seen the past chat we did with the spreadsheet Megan created for us, which is like from the Save the Cat Writes a Novel one. Like I actually yoinked that and used it to replot my Druid book, which is like the 3rd time in a row that the non-Druid book it doesn't have a name anymore. Oh no. To completely replot. So I end up doing this a lot. Escape to Which City was the same way, where I literally will sit down and I will write out like scene by scene in extreme detail, and then I'll stop halfway through or not even halfway through and be like, oh, this isn't working for me anymore, and then replot the entire thing. So like I have a tendency to do this, and like writing is always going to be a learning process for me, and it might be a case of like I should stop plotting so in detail because I'm gonna rewrite it anyways, you know.
Yeah, I think usually I'll plot in great detail up to the midpoint, or sometimes even like the 60-70% point, and then it's like I don't know, because endings always, I know the feeling I want to end on, but I always really struggle to figure out like, okay, well, how am I actually going to get everyone in the same room, and how is it going to be a cool showdown?
It's not really a bad idea though, like even if it's not on purpose because you struggle with endings, but like I kind of like that idea, because you, like in my case, I plot the whole thing from beginning to end and then scrap it, right? So if I'm just plotting halfway, it's like, oh, I don't waste all that time on the second half. Maybe I'll have to start doing that going forward.
Yeah, and with my vampire one too, when I was in the plotting stage, so before I had like I knew the bare bones, and it was like, okay, now I'm starting to go scene by scene. I went scene by scene in an act setup. So I plotted out all of act 1, and then I went over every scene. Like I described every scene to someone else, like verbally. And that was surprisingly helpful.
I tried that the other day with the Druid book that is not a Druid book anymore. Like I literally just sat down and was like, I'm just going to talk at you, and it's okay if you don't say anything. And like, that is actually how I ended up solving one of the major plot problems, because the person was just like, well, why don't you do this? And I was like, oh my God, that is so completely obvious. But my brain was like so wrapped up in it. And so it's like become such a tangled mess to me that I couldn't like see the very obvious solution.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or even sometimes someone will just be like, well, why?
Yeah,
why are they reacting that way? And
you're like, oh,
for plot purposes.
Oh no, is that not supposed to be the case?
Yeah.
Or like, why he's sitting around for 15 years. Why doesn't he do something before that? And you're like, yeah, oh, crap, because I need him to wait. Oh no. Okay. I guess we should, speaking of plotting, I guess we should figure out our very first. I know we talked about having a opening image, and having it be similar to the closing image.
Yeah, so we talked about a sort of like prologue, possibly through Eden's mom's eyes.
Right. Okay. And that would be you writing it, I think. Obviously, because you're all about Eden and her mom.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
So that we have notes. The origin story of Eden ends with light bursting from the lighthouse and getting rid of the fog. Do we throw her in the trench is the big question. What do we do with the baby?
Well, the baby ends up being almost sacrificed, but not, right?
Right, yeah. So they got to do something to try and kill the baby that won't actually kill the baby.
Well, we wanted an altar at one point.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I forgot about the spooky altar.
Yeah, because he gets not accidentally on purpose, sacrificed on the altar.
This is going to mess up all my colors.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to insert one below and just change this one to white. I want a general plot description.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so maybe it's like an altar attached to the lighthouse or in front of the lighthouse, something like that. What's the equivalent of a seaside altar? A dock. A dock in the ocean.
Yeah, I can work with that. I can come up with something cool for that.
Cool.
It's a ritual body.
Creepy. Right, and it's only the bare bones of the cult, the like in charge people.
Yeah.
So it would be Prophet Senior, Lily's mom, and then I don't know who else. You got Prophet.
Only Prophet Senior.
Prophet Senior and Lily's parents.
Does Lily not in this book?
Does Lily have a dad?
I don't know if Eden does.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, does Eden have a dad? Is what I meant to ask. Okay, yeah, because I like the idea that Lily's parents are head cult people as well.
Yeah,
and horrible. Lily's parents, Eden's mom, and Prophet Senior.
I'm gonna go with no father in Eden's life.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think about it a little more and see what happened to whoever.
The cult was a deal breaker. He's like, I can deal with you stealing the sheets at night, but the creepy seaside cult and sacrificing our child is the deal breaker for me.
I almost like the idea of like Eden's mom just like wanted a baby, so she had a baby. Like,
that's a good idea. And they were like, why are you going to the mainland?
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna have a baby. Like, on a bonkers foggy afternoon.
On
the altar. Sacrifice is implied or shown. IDK.
And are we doing like they do actually sacrifice her and she's like pops back up and is fine, or they're going to like Jacob and Esau style?
I think I'm gonna have it be like, if it's a seaside altar, maybe it's like the sea comes up and pulls her out.
Oh, interesting.
Baby horror is my like top shelf. I can write a lot of pretty horrific things.
Yeah.
Baby horror is my top limit.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'm sure I could write it, but it would be hard.
You could definitely do the altar, because we were going to do a thing where the altar, the water pools, the sea pools in it. Yeah. So if you did something like that, the altar could start filling and then the mom just turns away type of thing. Yeah. So you don't see anything. It's just implied.
I could possibly, we'll see how it feels when I'm writing it. I might have her look, I might have her not look. That'll be horrific either way.
Oh, definitely.
I just, like the beginning of The Witch, where it's like the witch just like slicing open babies. I was like, this is it. Yeah. We're gonna push through because I've heard this movie's amazing, but
there is a limit.
This is the one thing in horror that I don't like.
Yeah, don't like that. Yeah, I was not. It feels weird to say not into that because duh, you shouldn't be. But like watching that, I was like, I don't think I can. Even my brain isn't working. Gerald's and my brain. The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
The Witcher, the second season. I was like,
really says fuck those babies.
Like, wow. I was like, this is a bit much for me. I don't know. Okay, so I mean, whatever you feel like tonally will work from the point of view of Eden's mom. She's like, to sacrifice the baby, she's like pretty into the cult at that point. So
I think maybe I'll play a little bit on who's Isaac's dad?
What's that?
Who's Isaac's dad in the Bible? Oh, no. It's been so long. It's not Abraham, right?
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Are you? Oh, that's what I meant with the Jacob and Esau thing. Wrong Bible names. The whole sacrifice your son, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, psych, right? That one.
Yeah. So maybe she like thinks in her head, like, it's gonna be like that. He's not gonna make me do it.
Oh yeah, I like
situation. And then it like is like,
oh, we're doing it.
Oh, we're doing it. And then like at the last second.
Yeah. Or it could even be that the water does go over the baby's head.
Yeah.
And then it's like a rebirth situation, kind of. Because the void goes into her, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely picturing her getting like you shouldn't have survived that. You really shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe after it drains, she's still like there just chilling, being a baby void.
Cute.
Adorable murder baby. It sounds like he's a baby who knows.
Oh,
what does he know? Yes. What does he know? I'm just thinking tonally for the first one. Are we doing a prologue or are we doing a chapter 1? And if it's I think it's a prologue in my guess, unless you want to add extra POVs aside from Lily and Eden. Yeah. So it's probably a prologue. And I know initially we were thinking of like, is it Eden's mom or is it like an omniscient type of feel to it? But it's more like what you feel comfortable with. But
yeah, I'll play around with it a little bit, see what voice feels best.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not like I guess I've done omniscient, but like it's very rare.
Yeah, almost never.
Yeah,
I've done it more in like shorter form things.
Which this could be short-ish.
Yeah, I'm picturing it being fairly short,
like a couple of paragraphs, basically, to be like, yeah, because you wouldn't want to draw it. Basically, like setting the scene and like a tiny bit of backstory for like, this is the lighthouse. This is what the deal is with the lighthouse, kind of thing. And like, lots of setting, lots of like, not lots, but like fair amount of lighthouse description, heavy fog, etc. Setting the stage.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So scene 2
would be
Lily.
Do we want to do, because we know the backstory of like when they, the missed meeting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could write it down and then we at least know it, even if we do cut it later. Like,
yeah, because I kind of want to skip right into the decision to go back to the island. Like, I'm picturing Lily like at a book signing and like with her publicity team and like having a rough time about book 2 and then having that letter come in the mail and making the decision. Like, that's what I'm picturing her first scene is.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing as well.
Yeah. So maybe we don't have the whole written out backstory thing. Maybe it's like implied or remembered type of thing. Like, the fact that she's written a book about it helps too, because like you could even have a fan being like, oh my god, the scene where the 2 girls, the missed meeting in chapter 2 or whatever, like some stuff that a fan says or something, right? There's so many ways to drop it in. Yeah, so Lily's a book event. I'm picturing her having like a difficult time with like putting off her publicist or putting off her publisher. Like, maybe her editor is there, because I'm picturing her in like, I don't know, New York or San Fran or something, and her editor's like, oh, how's the book going, how's the writing going, and she's just like sweating because it's not going well, she's already pushed off the deadline a few times, type of thing. Maybe she's like almost a year behind, kind of thing, and her editor's getting desperate. And then on top of that, she's got like her fans asking her questions about when book 2 is coming out. Maybe she sees like a poster, because I know we talked about her doing something shitty to a fellow literary writer before she leaves.
Oh yeah,
like a passing FU. So maybe she sees a poster for like her rival or something, and is like, oh my God, What's Her Nuts is already coming out with her 3rd book, and I haven't even written my 2nd, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then when she gets home late and half drunk, there's a letter from Eden. I want to make a little note too, I think, that she's already, I'm trying to think if her editor is the one that's like, maybe you should go back to the island. Maybe you should think about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I don't really want to do that. And then starting to get convinced. Like maybe also her editor is like, if you do that, we can do another extension. And then we can make it a publicity thing.
Yeah,
to re-engage interest. Like you can tweet and Facebook and Instagram from there, and then I can you can be in the press again, basically.
Like giving them any content
exactly
will keep people happy for a little bit.
Yeah, like write a little article while you're writing book 2 or whatever, like give us something. And so that would be like a huge major pressure to go back to the island.
Yeah.
And then also she gets that letter from Eden, is like, I like to think of her as someone like who really believes in signs and stuff. I guess to a point, because she's also convinced herself. And maybe she's like new agey or something now.
Yeah. Or even if she's like, this is not like a direct sign, but it is my own intuition.
Yeah.
Like it's my gut feeling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Gonna jump. Do you have any other notes on this? Any other things you want to hash out with it? Or?
Think so.
I think you should actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe play up like one creepy detail. Like something is creepy at the event, or something is creepy about the letter. Like it's inside her house instead of in her mailbox, or so like something is unsettling since it's like a horror.
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's see. I don't want to do something about the letter because that feels blatant, but something.
Even if it's like a hint that she did something to that author once or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, I wonder if we can hint about the fact that she's a little bit psychopathic.
Yeah. Maybe even just like her internal narration being kind of creepy. Like the more she spirals, the more unhinged her inner narration becomes.
Or even like something she's written in her book, in book 1, that kind of comes back and bites her in the ass a bit. Maybe she runs into like a creepy fan or something, or I'm trying to think. Because in horror movies, you always get that one guy who's like the warning guy or whatever. Like the old guy at the gas station who tells you don't keep going down that road, you do anyways, and then there's cannibals that eat you or something.
What if like the fan that asks is like a fan she's seen like so many times before? Like I'm your number one fan, or like
I want to do something about the demons, I think, right? Like,
yeah.
Like the demons can't really leave the island, can they? Like, because it's implied that the void is on the island and doesn't really.
I think we know that. I don't know if she would be 100% sure.
Yeah. So maybe
or even if it's just like, it's my trauma.
Yeah, maybe it's not even an actual demon. Maybe she's thinking about going back to the island, and so her demon's on her brain type thing. And so she sees something or hears something. I'm trying to think. Maybe there's even like book 1 has a lighthouse on the cover type thing, and she gets stuck staring at it or something and is spooked, something like that, you know. I wonder if she would hear like a car horn or something and then think it was the lighthouse, because she has major trauma when it comes to the lighthouse. There could be just little things to show you.
Yeah, just like a couple small things that
yeah,
she's
a couple
like
small things
or something.
Because she's on edge, and then you could also tell like that's foreshadowing that, like, you know, shit happened on that island. That she's jumpy just thinking about going back to it.
Yeah.
So I think that should be good, like sprinkling in a couple little details, just sort of all in her head. Now, an Eden scene again.
Eden's first.
Something to do, not again, I guess, yeah, the first one was Eden's mom. Something to do with the cult.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need maybe like a sorry, I'm looking at the other beat sheet and thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna click out of this. Exit full screen. I still don't know how to work a computer, apparently. Oh, here we go. Basic beat sheet. All right. We're on the. Oh yeah, we already. I guess for the betrayal thing, we could do that on her next scene when she is already on the way. So we'd do for Eden, she would be aware that Lily is coming. What if we did because she's obsessed with Lily. What if you did a kind of like stalking her on Instagram scene type of thing? Yeah. And she gets something along those lines. She gets the news that Lily is in fact coming back, because she would have a big announcement and a big press release and blah, blah, blah. What about something with Lily's parents, maybe? You could have it
I for sure want her to have like a moment in like with the cult, because that's her baseline. Like that's her home state.
Yeah. I wonder if she's in the cult, in the lighthouse in this scene, right?
Yeah.
And maybe she gets the news that Lily's coming back while she's in the cult. Not in the cult, in the lighthouse / with the cult.
So maybe I'll have her be like cleaning up after a service with senior. Cyrus is in the background.
Yes, creepy Cyrus just hanging out and spying on people.
Yeah, we can like see her rapport with Prophet Senior.
And definitely see that Cyrus is like a little creeper just hanging around.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah,
that works perfect, because later we see him trailing them again and assume that he is following Eden. So yeah, this is good to establish it now that he's like kind of a little creeper and follows her around a bit.
Yeah, and I don't think she would clock it as that.
No, she would.
Like he's there. Yeah.
And maybe she turns and he's like staring at her or something.
Yeah.
She could even think like he thinks I'm cute or whatever. Like maybe he has a crush. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm sure she thinks that.
Everyone thinks I'm adorable.
Like,
hair.
Yeah, who wouldn't have a crush on me?
Who wouldn't love me?
I'm picturing almost like they carry something back down to her house at the base of the lighthouse or something.
Okay, yeah.
And Prophet Senior like notices something in her house that's like, oh, wasn't that Lily's or something? And then he could be the one who's like, she's coming back.
Did you
And
know?
then-
And she's like, oh, I didn't know. It's like, bullshit, you do know.
Yeah. And then in like the background, in a super subtle, but won't be subtle to anyone who's watched these videos way, like Cyrus will do something, because it would like also be him finding out as well.
Right. He like drops something. We have 3 minutes.
Yes. Let me type this out really fast.
Yeah.
Zero rapport with Prophet Senior. Carry something down the spiral staircase.
Is it a body?
At the base. Lighthouse.
Not yet.
Notices something.
Is that Lily's underwear? Weird.
Isn't that Lily's?
Not quite that.
She's like, was it?
I totally didn't know she was coming.
Lily is returning.
And she's like, I don't care.
Day. Let's say like that day. We're moving ahead.
Later that evening or something.
Yeah.
Like, are you excited? Your old friend is coming. She's like,
plays it cool. And then maybe we like end the scene. She like looks outside and there's just a little bit of smoke in the distance or something.
From a boat like, or something?
From the hotel that she burns down.
Oh yeah, right. Or matches or something. Just out like
yeah.
The prophet comes in and she just closed that drawer with the matches in it. What was I gonna say?
Okay, so we're gonna end that one with a little hint that she's burned down the hotel. With the motel, wherever it is that people could theoretically stay while they are considering joining this cult.
Yes.
Maybe it's like a surprisingly nice hotel because you want to like woo them into staying.
Yeah, ocean views.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Lily is on her way.
I wonder if we can also get in scene 3 like a little nod at some of the things the cult is requiring you to do.
Yeah.
For at night, like she's supposed to paint her doorway with something and she hasn't done it yet. And the prophet's like, it's getting really close to nighttime. Don't forget to paint your doorway. And she's like, oh, right, I'm supposed to be pretending that I'm afraid of this.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I can't remember if we said that we were going to fully go like blood on the doorways or not.
It's like a shell situation again or something else seaside-y.
In a starfish to your doorway.
You know what we should do once we start writing is we should have like a doc that's like, oh, I thought this ritual would be cool, so I added it. So now it's a ritual.
Yeah. The holy handbook for the cult. Yeah, a good idea.
Or I thought of this rule, so now that's a rule.
So we have somewhere to a reference book. That's a good idea. I can barely keep track of whose eyes are what color, so that is a great idea.
One of my most egregious instances of that was in the book I wrote with Kyra. There was a 2-chapter span where I had given one character 3 eye colors.
Oh dear.
He had blue eyes. He had green eyes. He had copper ones.
Just changing all over the place.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Anything else we can think of for? I think that's pretty good. It establishes a lot. It hints at things.
Yeah, I think that's a good baseline. It leaves room for like lots of other side characters can be in the background, kind of moving around. Might note, not like literally note it, but just like it is telling that her mom is not there. Yellow flag. It's not like, oh, what's wrong? But it's just kind of like, oh, like, where is she?
Especially because we start out from her mom's point of view.
Yeah.
We could even, if you wanted to be more obvious about it, so have Prophet Senior say like, oh, have you checked in on your mom? Or I dropped some preserves off to your mother or whatever.
Yeah.
You wanted. Okay, cool. All right, so scene 4 would be the burnt down hotel.
Yeah.
The gist of it. So I figure this will be kind of broken into 2 a little bit, because I'm picturing her on the boat initially, and because I was picturing her with her like dicking around with her plot notes and then still getting blocked and frustrated, and then just like staring at the approaching island, like really jittery. And then because she has the prayer beads, so I'm picturing her like trying to convince herself, like repeating her therapist's words and stuff, and then trying to convince herself to drop it over the side of the boat, and then she doesn't.
Yeah, that's plot. That's more than just a note.
So she can't bring herself to drop the prayer beads off the side of the ship. And then we could also get a look at the prayer beads.
Yeah. We could have the boat pull up, like the hotel is fairly close to where the boat pulls in. Like if there is like she tries to drop them off the side but can't, she's like, whatever, it doesn't matter, like I'm gonna get there, get to the hotel, get into my room, then I'm not gonna have to think about this. And then it just is like, hotel's gone.
Yeah, I wonder if we can work it in so that, because
you could also just have a scene break. It doesn't have to be.
Oh, for sure. But I think if it's a seaside hotel, she could be like, the boat can be like passing, and she's like, oh, I'll look at the hotel and be like, what the hell? Because see like smoke rising from the trees or something.
Yeah. Who do we think is captaining the boat? Is it someone she can talk to? Is there like a crew member she could ask about it? Or
I was kind of picturing it being a small like liner from one place to the other where people are in their cars and stuff. Do we think?
That's a good question. Are there roads that would require cars on this island?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume people do have cars on the island.
Okay.
Because the way I picture it is having like a main smaller part of town with roads, small roads, and then having a more craggy cliffside part. And then that U-shaped with the lighthouse and the
yeah, I like that. So she would be like in a car?
No, I picture her as not driving.
Okay.
Like she would be like, oh, I take the subway. And like, I feel like she would be, I also picture her as so anxious that she wouldn't drive either.
Yeah.
Like a very anxious person. So I think she would have walked onto that ferry. And I also think it would be such an intensely small ferry that it would only be 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah.
Especially because like
maximum.
Are we in a winter season? Do we think? I'm picturing like gloomy.
Yeah, I could go for gloomy.
Especially because like if it's like a seaside place that like more people are there in the summer. And then there's like no one comes in the winter except for like residents or relatives or whatever.
Okay. So there could just be no one else on the boat. Just like one car that got abandoned in the boat.
Yeah. So I'm picturing the like boat person not being necessarily even a local. Like maybe he's because the like when I used to go to like Hornby Island, it's called, there would be like there's a mainland, there's an island in between that's bigger, and then the Hornby Island was a teeny little one beyond that. So you had to take 2 ferries to get to it, which is like incredibly isolating. Like the last ferry left at 8 p.m. And if you were
I don't have any experience with this. So this is like really fascinating.
Yeah. But if you missed it, you're screwed. And like there's a handful of people that live on the island, but most of them live on the bigger island.
Okay.
So like the ferry boat captain and stuff, again, the ferry, it only fits like 10 cars on it. And the ferry boat captain would live either on that one or on the mainland. And they just trek back and forth. Like it's not even, like this island that I'm talking about, there's not even a school on it. You know, like you have to take the boat and go to the bigger island to go to school type of thing, you know? So it could be something along those lines. Although I am picturing it as like a teeny bit bigger, but maybe like the bigger part is not habitable.
Yeah.
Maybe like it's cliff sides and stuff.
Yeah.
And the lighthouse. Yeah.
Treacherous.
Like treacherous. Yeah, exactly. We can like work on it as we go. But like, I like the idea of her. I also don't think she'd want to talk to anyone. So I think she's like kind of on her own. It'd be funny too if she's like, I just talked to the reservations lady at the hotel last night. So like, this is a fresh burn. Like this is just burned down. Oh my God.
Is it just burned down or did she not tell me?
Imagine. I do like the idea of it still like smoking a little bit so she can tell it is a fresh burn, especially because like maybe they're coming around the side of the island. She's like, what is that smoke? Right? Just be like, oh my God. And be like, it's the one hotel. And then she gets like a text from her parents and is like, oh, shit. Or a phone call and it's like, I know what this is about. Guess I'm staying on their couch. I think here is also a good place. This is a good place to sort of show what her relationship with her parents are like. So she gets the phone call and she just like mutes it and is like, I'm not going to talk to them before I have to.
Yeah.
Also, here's a good place to put in like when she's looking at her notes and stuff and like before she sees the hotel, thinking about what she just did to the other author because she was going to do something really shit before I'm not sure what. I think she's kind of scornful when it comes to social media, so I think it would be something like at an event or something. She did something crappy. Maybe she promised that she would go like host that author's thing and then just like didn't show up. That would be such a dick move. So something like that. She should just like text at the last minute. Oh, so sorry, something's come up. Like something really shitty like that.
Yeah.
What a bitch.
She just like tries to pull up the live feed of it, even though like she knows she's not going to have enough service to actually watch them fumble this.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I'm like mad at her. She's not even a real person. How could you do that? Something like that. I think it would be like a sophisticated in-person thing. And
it's the launch party for the 3rd book.
Yeah. Oh my God. Where she'd be like, yeah, I'll hype your book and I'll like send out a tweet or whatever. And I'll like show up and host it for you. And then she stands her up and sends out like a crappy half-assed apology email afterwards. I think like it could be something that she would, because she's always telling herself lies. So I think it could be something where she tells herself like, oh, I was just too anxious to go, or like, oh, I'm just not in a place to go and talk about it because I'm so blocked. Even though she knows she kind of resents that author. And so maybe she's like lying to herself that like, I didn't do it to screw her over on purpose. But like, yeah, you did. Yeah. I think she spends most of the book spinning a story for herself that she's like the good guy in all of this situation. And then like, maybe as she gets more entangled with Eden, she starts to like accept that she's a bad person too. Eden is vibing on top of the lighthouse with the binoculars. Creepy. I love it.
She's like, I know she's coming.
So I think we can end the scene 4 with the call from her parents and muting.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then scene 5, do you want to start with Eden on top of the lighthouse with her creepy spy binoculars?
I think maybe, I think we should have them like face to face in scene 5 for sure.
Okay, yeah, good call. Have we discussed when is the first time? I'm gonna have to go look. Don't remember what we said for like the first time she sees her. Okay.
So the hotel being burned down is like Lily's break into 2. So she might also need like one like half second before she sees the author thing, where she's like, I could go back. I could just stay on this boat and go back. Then
after she sees the burnt motel. Yeah. Right. Because she's burned one of her bridges. Yeah, maybe she gets like a sternly worded email from her editor or something that's like, you just stood up, what's her face? Like, I gotta.
Yes.
So she's like, I have to, and then she turns off her internet basically for the night or whatever.
Yeah. And I think for Eden, like her break into 2 is like, I'm face to face with Lily. It's go time. But I am confused a little because she is kind of hot.
She looks like the shrine.
Yeah.
All the pictures on the shrine.
She looks even better than the pictures on the shrine.
Okay, so let's go back to I keep having to go back to this one.
So I think maybe instead of starting the scene like with her on top of the lighthouse, I might have her like in Lily's path.
Okay.
Like she's just like, oh, I was just hanging out at this grocery store that I was pretty sure your parents were going to stop at when they realized they were going to need to be feeding you.
I really
something like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of, literally just being like, she goes into town, probably by herself. Lily goes into town and Eden knows where she's going to go, right? Because maybe Lily heads straight for like one of the places where she was happy in town to go start writing or something, to sit down and like take some notes. And Eden's like, I know she's going to make her way straight for this place. So she like, puts herself into her path. And I'm thinking it's like the downtown core. Maybe there's like one good coffee shop and she knows that Lily's going to head straight for this coffee shop.
Yeah.
And does she invite her to church then?
Yeah. So I think I imagine they'll have a little, I can't see what I'm doing. Hang on. They have a small awkward reunion. And Lily is like, got your letter.
What letter?
Eden is being weirdly cagey. So she doesn't. Is referring to
yeah, and I would definitely, it's funny because in this scene Lily is like going to have to sort of battle with her snarky self, because I picture her as being very bitingly sarcastic in an Audrey Plaza kind of way, but she also wants to use Eden for her book, so she's gonna have to be like, she's gonna have to be, I don't know, not polite, I guess. Also, she would have like this incredible reaction when Eden invites her to church, like a visceral reaction she would have to try to hide, which I think like Eden obviously knows that.
Yeah,
and has
that's why she
her
does it.
very deliberately. We would love to see you. I would love to fling myself off the top of the lighthouse instead.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's very subtle foreshadowing. Maybe put a note that the first time she, actually in scene 4 as well, that Lily has headphones around her neck all the time.
Okay.
Because she's immediately going to put that on if the lighthouse is going to go off and do its like foghorn thing. And then I don't know if Eden would like pick up on that. I would assume that Lily has told Eden some of her hangups, like when they were growing up. So she like hates the sound of the lighthouse. So Eden would see that and be like, see that she still hates the sound of the lighthouse. And also because she's read Lily's whole book. Yeah, we're gonna have to like take that into account. Like you're gonna have to take that into account when you're writing Eden's scenes, because Eden has read, you know, that book multiple times. And I assume basically memorized it. So she knows a lot about Lily and about like her sort of not really even fictionalized account of growing up in the cult. I also think that's something maybe we can put in scene, the next scene with from the point of view of Lily, where she has this realization where it's like, I feel like I'm standing naked in front of her because she's read my whole book. I know she's read my whole book and like all of my inner thoughts and feelings and trauma. Because like that would occur to you for sure if you had like written about your life and written about Eden, right?
Yeah.
I also think in the scene where Eden sees, when they have that awkward meeting, would Eden be forward enough to say like, thanks for writing about me, bitch, kind of thing? Or
that's what I'm looking through right now, my notes at like their betrayal, and I'm kind of imagining like, so Lily is being really nice, Eden is being really cagey, like, are you happy to see me or are you pissed to see me? And I don't think she would want Lily to think that she's too interested at first, because like A, it would be kind of obvious, and then B, I think she would know that Lily loves a challenge.
Could she like, because we discussed Eden acting really fake and Lily knowing she was acting fake.
Yeah.
And that would be, I feel like, deliberate on Eden's part, right? If she's like really sunshiny and like perfect church girl,
Yeah.
Because Lily would be like, I know you're not like this type of thing, you know?
Yeah. I'm almost imagining like at the end of the scene, Lily is like, do you want to like get some coffee? Do you want to have coffee with me right now? And then Eden could say something snarky like, I don't know, you published my diary. I think you would know better than anyone that I'm not interested. Like something clever.
Yeah.
In that, like something that would only have been in the book. A small detail that would have only been in the book that would signal to Lily.
So Lily knows she's read it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what that detail would be. I'm going over the betrayal right now. And so like the big betrayal on Lily's part is A, leaving, and B, stealing the diary. But it's like Eden knows what's in her own diary. So it would need to be something else that Lily wrote about.
Maybe she just quotes something back at Lily, there was like an internal monologue Lily had at one point. Maybe about Eden.
Maybe she's like, oh no, it's gonna be getting dark soon. And then she references like something that happened that night that was told from Eden's point of view or Lily's point of view, which she wouldn't have known because they never get to talk about what happened, obviously. So it would be like, oh, it's a direct quote from the book.
Yeah, basically quotes the book at her. In which case, Lily would be like, oh shit, well, yeah, she's mad.
Yeah.
And at some point we have to have a scene with Lily's parents, which is gonna suck for Lily.
So Eden to stay for coffee, and Eden lines and quotes. Oh, and somewhere before that, she
invites her to church.
On little dual invitations.
Excellent.
Knows now without a doubt. Eden
read
her book.
A lot. Should make it a really snarky comment and be like, well, you want me to sign it for you?
Yeah.
I have bookmarks.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think the next scene with Lily should be that she's at her parents' house. And they're probably trying to convince her to come back to the church.
Yeah.
You want my autograph? Okay, so yeah, I also think at some point we should like show Eden like looking at Lily's like social media and stuff. Like maybe she just has Instagram and she's like obsessively looking at every picture.
Yes.
Like, I've seen this one before type of thing.
God, she's not posting often enough. Yeah. She's never gonna keep up publicity like this.
She'll make me her marketing manager, obviously. Yeah. Me and my shrine.
Yeah, I have all the pictures she could possibly need. They'll look great on Instagram. Okay, yeah, so. And that would actually bring us to like the next two scenes are really like, okay, now shit's about to get fun.
Right.
Because it's like Lily with the foghorn and then a brief scene of like Eden dancing in the dark.
Are we in the fun and games? We are now, right?
This is like the first scene in fun and games.
Yeah.
Is first nightfall with the foghorns.
Okay. Creepy. Love it. Fun and games, the best part. Yeah, so maybe we start the scene Lily is with her parents. And they're trying to get her to come back to the church. Maybe they have a service tomorrow. And then they, did Lily or did Eden invite you? Like, she said she was gonna invite you. Like, yeah, she invited me. And I think I think there's like, I'm still not totally sure on Lily's relationship with her parents, aside from that it's terrible. But I also think they would probably like pressure her. Okay, yes, thank you, computer. I think they would also pressure her into, oh, my computer's just doing all kinds of stuff right now. No, I don't want OneDrive open. I think that they would try to pressure her into going to church, not just like a flippant, like, oh, you should, like, everyone wants to see you, like, we hope you haven't lost your faith, and like that type of guilt trip. Like,
even if it's like, we know you haven't lost your faith.
Oh, yes.
Like yeah. We know you haven't.
Nobody ever really leaves the cult.
Yeah.
Unless it's in a casket.
Yeah.
Unless it's at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, so they pressure her. She is frustrated and angry. And maybe there's like some guilt around, like, you wrote about us in your book type of thing. Like, I like the idea that maybe one of her parents read the book and the other one refuses to have it in the house. They know, maybe like, oh, the dad is like mad about it and the mom is like, doesn't want to acknowledge that it even happened type thing. Let's see. Yeah, and then like a join us for dinner thing, and then she just shuts herself in the room, her old childhood room. Ooh, like we definitely do like the old childhood room is the same. And she's like, oh my God, so creepy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have like they don't have, or maybe they could have like a poster, because they have their own printing press. So maybe they can have like a quote from one of their pamphlets, or like one of the miracles or something is on her wall and she like takes it down.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I know one of the fun things about revisiting a home of someone that's related to you and you're staying in that house is like, look how many Jesuses are in this room right now. Like, I took down the poster and like look down at my feet and there's like a seashell with a scripture inscribed on it.
Oh,
and then like
definitely
get into the bed and there's just like something under the pillow. Oh my God, why?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely will be lots of not their scripture, but like their scripture, all over the room. She's just like, like ripping it down. And then maybe she talks to her therapist right away, because she's like, I'm panicking, I need to talk to you right away, type of thing.
Yeah. And maybe she like loses service towards the end of it. Like she gets a little bit.
I like that idea for sure. So maybe he tells her like a few things that he always does, and she like, it's like repeat that like a mantra, and then loses service. And then we have the like coming up to the time where it's getting dark and she knows the foghorn is going to sound. And so she's like in bed and she puts her headphones on and like blasts the music. And I am picturing like her thinking about the meeting with Eden and trying to figure out more plot notes, and maybe still being a little bit frustrated and still being stuck and very anxious. And she would still hear the foghorn through her music, I think. Maybe her therapist like encourages her to take your headphones off and hear the foghorn. I don't know.
Yeah, even if it's just like a I obviously can't speak for all therapists, but in my experience, I feel like it would be very reasonable for them to be like, you don't have to do it right away, but I think it would be helpful.
Yeah.
Once
definitely.
you feel ready.
We should also have a little scene in here where they remind her not to go outside. Like her parents are like,
yeah,
doors are locked, curfew's at whatever. You remember the curfew? And she just like rolls her eyes and leaves.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else about this scene? I don't think so. Eden is just vibing again.
She's having like, this is the best day of her life.
Time to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else right now.
I'm just gonna write this down because I already know. I have this scene so perfectly in my head already.
Dancing in the streets.
Yeah.
Dancing in the streets. Because I'm a void person. That's how the song goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I wonder if she does go to church. Yeah. Because it would be horrifying, but at the same time, she's like, I didn't have a book to write. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the book will probably be fiction. So she's going to fictionalize. Like the first one was fictionalized, but like she says it was, but mostly it wasn't.
Like, if you know, you know.
Yeah. And then this one will be fictionalized. So she has to she kind of has to go looking for a story, right?
Yeah.
She's like, there's no story if I just sit in my room. So maybe she's just going to follow Eden around, basically. And Eden's at church. So, or maybe she comes after the service because she can't bear to like go to the actual service. Oh, again, maybe she talks to her therapist before the call cuts out and she says like, I've been invited to church and I feel like I should go, but I also don't feel ready. And maybe that's what he tells her. Like, same with the foghorn, just like dip your toe in, ease into it, and like do it when you're ready type thing. So maybe the next day she goes, but she goes after everyone's gone. Yeah. And she knows that Eden will still be there, like cleaning stuff up and stuff. In the process.
Eden lives there, so.
Well, I picture her knowing that like after the service empties out, like Eden is still there puttering around, like cleaning stuff up with the prophet every time. So she would go.
This would maybe be a good time for her to interact with Cyrus.
Oh, yes, definitely. Because Cyrus is up to shit. What's he doing right now? He
has just had his first vision. Alleged vision. And so he is like about to start training to take over. Let me put that here.
In the Cyrus column.
Yeah, it's finally being used.
Oh, he had a scene 3.
All right, I'm gonna put this here actually.
It's fake. So is he telling the church? Maybe he has his first vision at church. Like, is he doing it publicly? I assume since it's fake.
I've been imagining he just tells his dad or whatever.
Okay.
That he has.
So maybe he tells his dad during the service or something.
Yeah, maybe they like announce it during the service.
Oh, like, good idea. Yes. I went to a school that was like the private Christian school I went to had like a church service. And it was very like posturing, like I had a prophecy from the Lord. Like that's how it was. So I can definitely picture that. I'm just gonna make whatever shit up I want and say it was from the Lord. I had a prophecy that you all should give me money.
Isn't that always how it goes?
For some preachers, yes. buy me a yacht, says Jesus.
So this next one's going to be Lily's POV.
When are we doing the first like sleep paralysis shit? Right, we want to do that at some point too.
Yeah.
Now that we're in the fun and games section.
I guess like whose POV is the sleep paralysis stuff most satisfying?
I think Lily.
So we could do it at the end of this one.
Okay.
This
Cool.
scene 8.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be the scariest from Lily's point of view. Because I think I'm picturing for the first little while, we don't know it's Lily or sorry, yeah. Eden. Yeah. So maybe this scene will be to sort of split into 2, and the first one will be she goes to church after the service to see Lily, and Eden. I don't know why I can't get their names straight.
I'm thinking about them all the time, and yet somehow
I don't know why. They're very different names,
right?
Yeah, she interacts with Silas, and then also sleep paralysis demon. Also the conversation with Eden. Lily is like, I have to try to get on her good side to like be able to talk to her and like hang out essentially so that she can get more dirt on her. Because like the developments that's happened since Eden has been gone, in that Lily is this like golden cults girl. She's like, this is interesting. This is potential book 2 fodder. Right. Yeah. So she's like, I want to hang out with Eden and like get all of the dirt on what's going on with her and like ask her more about the sacrifice and whatever else. And just like, I got to put together, maybe the more she sees Lily, fucking hell, the more she sees Eden, the more like inspired she gets. So she's blocked. Ooh. And then she sees Lily and she has all these ideas. Yeah. She's her creepy void muse. So like a direct result of seeing Eden that kind of like first time is like a flood of inspiration. She's like, holy crap, I have to see her again so I can get this other flood of inspiration, but pretend that I'm not writing about her. Yeah. I'm imagining Eden totally knowing that Lily's writing about her and preening, like being like hair flip, like, yes, write about me, I'm amazing. I'm so hot and funny and amazing, and you should definitely make me the star of your book 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of imagining, as far as Eden's plans are going, I think maybe it's either like implied that she has talked with Lily's parents this morning about her, or like she actually sees Eden talking with her parents or something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of picturing it about this point is when Eden finds a way to get herself a key to that house.
Yes, good idea. Oh yeah, maybe. How does she get a key? Because like she's their golden girl, so they would definitely give her a key, but she needs a reason to ask for one, right? Or maybe she has a spare key from before, like she watered their plants one time or something,
Maybe she did it recently.
Yeah,
because I want it to be like she's actively doing things right now in the background. Or maybe she's like, oh, I know you're going to the mainland this weekend. Could I drop something off for you?
She's also a void creature, so she could probably just break in without anyone knowing.
Probably. Right? Probably, but I need her to be doing something. Like, even if you don't see it in this scene, I feel like she has to have some sort of ulterior motive. So maybe maybe she's also playing mind games, like in some way.
okay, so what's happening? She goes to the church. I wonder if if Eden is the one manipulating Lily into going to the church. Like initially she's like, no, no, no. And then Eden is the one that orchestrates it so that she's like pulling a lot more strings immediately. I'm trying to think how she would convince her.
What if she has like a this is when she's doing social media work, and she's like been posing as one of Lily's fans.
Oh.
And so she starts like spamming the chat with a bunch of different accounts. Like, are you gonna go see the lighthouse?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So she should, through social media, she should manipulate her in some way to make her go to the church service. Like, oh, we want to see inside the cult meeting.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Very clever. She's like a spider pulling all the webs.
This was a terrible idea. I hate writing smart people because then I have to be smart.
I know. It's really
the worst.
It's a terrible idea.
But that'll be good. And then she's like doing something that like you wouldn't necessarily know immediately was her.
So Lily just has, or not Lily, fucking hell. So Eden just has like a bunch of sock puppet accounts. Hashtag void sock puppet.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
They're all void themed to match the book. It's like the Call of the Void, Void Girl 2589.
Void Girl 29. I love it.
The void is my mistress.
Oh man, it's good. I wonder if there's like, I mean, maybe it's too literary, but it would be funny if there's like merchandise. I'm picturing a movie was made, you know?
Yeah.
Like there'd be a movie poster in Eden's shrine and stuff.
Yeah. Just like Etsy art and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. She's like a keychain or something. Okay, so maybe she's like, maybe this is
a frog just hopped on my window and scared the shit out of me. It's a huge frog.
Jeez, this is not a problem I have here on Vancouver Island.
Oh, I have like my windows open and it's nighttime, and so the frogs, they'll come if the windows are open and the lights are on, they'll stick on the windows because the bugs will come towards the light and then they can feast.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it a void frog?
Hopefully.
Yeah, you never know. Demon
like,
frog.
I've noticed a plot hole here.
Helpful void frog.
This might be a good place to like call it and then think a little more about some more fun and games.
Yes, I agree. There was one thing I was going to say before we sign off. I'm trying to remember before void frog came. I had okay. Oh yeah. I was gonna say, what if Eden is like the president of the fan club, one of the major fan clubs.
She runs the forum.
It's so funny because like it's like, oh, she's the president of your fan club. It's like a saying, but like, what if she uses that to manipulate things? Right? Because like,
ooh, maybe when they see each other in the coffee shop, Eden is like, oh yeah, I'm the president of your fan club. Like deadpans it.
And she'd be like, okay, sarcasm. Like, actually, it's not. Because if she has a big enough fan club and she like kind of puppets that fan club, the fan club can affect the publisher and editor, right? So if the editor's like, okay, you're you know, millions strong fan club are demanding you go into the lighthouse and into the church service, like you got to do it. And she's like, fine, right? So like Eden has just manipulated that into, so she can start these movements within the Lily's following essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if it's just like a few accounts, you know, like if one of them goes big, then it like just blows up.
Yeah, I'm picturing her as like the head of the biggest fan club, and then any kind of like movement that fan club starts catches on and everybody else does it type of thing.
Yeah.
So she's like kind of controlling Lily's whole empire a little bit, like all of her fans.
Ooh, yeah.
And in turn, really, like, because a lot, I mean, it depends on your publisher and your editor, but a lot of the time your publisher and editor are gonna be like, oh, your fans want this, like it's gonna have an influence, right?
Yeah.
Especially if there is, like, maybe there was a TV series. Maybe it's like a George
like
R. R. Martin. Yeah, like maybe it's a George R. R. Martin thing where the TV series is just about to get ahead of the book type thing. And they're like, you need to write the book because people are clamoring for this TV series, right? Like maybe the movement is that big. Like it's a Game of Thrones level thing. So that the fans have a lot more power than the fans of a book series would, right?
How does the island not then become a tourism spot?
Good point. Crap. Yeah,
I can see if it's like a paranormal under the banner of heaven situation, that like Hulu series about the cult that was an offshoot of Mormonism.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't.
And it's like it's doing quite well from what I've seen. So if it was like something like that, but with paranormal shit, then people are like, you've got that mixed with a little bit of supernatural.
Yeah, I'm picturing like supernatural fandom, but maybe she doesn't, because it's fiction, right? Maybe she just says it doesn't exist or something, but then I feel like people look into her past. So maybe that doesn't work. Crap. I got real excited about that, but maybe that doesn't work. Unless they've just like locked the island down and you can't get on unless you're a resident, but I don't know if people can do that.
Yeah, because you want people to be able to come to join the cult.
Right, that's true too. Okay, maybe it can't be a TV series.
I think it still could be. It just couldn't be like massive levels of fame.
Yeah. I wonder
because if like one or two fans join up and want to join a cult, like that's fine.
Yeah. Well, she's made the cult like into bad guys too. So like, are you going to go to an island where the book is set where there was a bunch of bad guys ruling that island? I don't know. Has that happened before? Like there's no actual vampires and forks. So when people show up, it's fine. But like,
yeah,
if you go to this island that was featured in a book that is run by the villains of said book, I don't know.
People are always getting really into weird dark shit in their fandoms.
That's very true. Yeah, people would still go.
People would be like shipping her with Cyrus because they made eye contact twice.
Yeah. Because he's like maybe kind of cute, and it doesn't matter if he's a horrible sycophant. Yeah.
We could think about that a little bit.
I think we'll have to think about, because even like I didn't think about this until now, but even if it's a fairly popular book series, we're gonna have to think about people showing up on the island, because that happens. I wonder if it's like really a big pain in the butt to get to,
yeah,
maybe you have to like take 2 boats and a helicopter. I don't know, like maybe
it was just like really expensive to get there, and it's a pain in the butt, and then it's like you don't have to keep everyone away, just most people.
Maybe it's like, oh, there have been a few super fanatical fans that show up, but
because like such a small number of people are going to do all the research that it would take to figure out where she was born, without her ever saying where she was born,
right? And then making the trip,
and then book like $1,000 trip.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's say that it's hard to get there, it's expensive to get there, and she called it something different in the thing and made it into like a fictional island.
Yeah.
And she could have I'm picturing her as very like reclusive. Like she's very much like an author who's like, she's maybe into Instagram because her publishers made her do it. So her bio would just be like, she has a cat or whatever, right? So she would not, and in interviews, I think she's very closed-mouthed about it. So I think you'd have to do some serious digging to even figure out where she was born.
It would be like fan theories, like,
yes,
because it's not her, like Lily's not her name. So like, or not her, it is her name now, but it was not her birth name. So like,
so if she's secret enough, I think it makes her like, it adds to the mystique and people are interested in her as an author. And I also think her TV, it could be a popular TV series still.
Yeah.
I still think we could do that, provided that she's like, who's the guy who wrote Catcher in the Rye? I did this last time too.
J.D. Salinger.
Yeah. And she's like a Salinger like figure where she's like really reclusive, barely gives
she
interviews.
Would see herself as a Salinger.
She absolutely would. And especially like if she's like, I barely give interviews, and then like when she agrees to like host this girl's book launch, that girl is like, oh my God, I'm so honored and blah blah blah, and then she fails and it makes it even worse type of thing.
And it makes the book event that she's at the beginning a bigger deal if it's like maybe the first one she's done.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And there would be like a huge amount of pressure on that book event and on her. Maybe she's been fighting with her editor for a while because he's like, you need to do something. Like people are clamoring for something. Like the first season of this TV show just ended or something like that, you know, like the next one's coming. I need your book. I like the idea that she's lying. She's like, oh yeah, I have it halfway done. And it's like, she's got the first 2 chapters or something.
Yeah.
That would be so much pressure. Ow, 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 ow. Yeah, I definitely picture it like a George R.R. Martin situation where the TV show is making it way more popular than she thought it would. And it's making her into more of a mainstream. And she's like, she's very snobby about it. She's like, I didn't even want a TV series in the first place. Not literary enough.
Everyone's like, oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, exactly. The most obnoxious type of writer.
Yeah.
She would be very obnoxious. She would absolutely think she was a Hemingway. I so picture her like, oh my God, she's like at the start or the end of her writer event and she's like at a bar writing with a glass of whiskey on the rocks. Look at me, I'm Hemingway.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. And she like, she would definitely be the kind that like stays in shitty hotels on purpose because she wants to feel like avant-garde. Ugh, I hate her so much already. I'm excited. Cool.
All right.
Whoa, we plotted way more than I thought we would.
So much more. We are into Act 2
Woot.
of the book.
So when we come back to plotting, we can take this time to think about some more fun and games, like what we actually want. Because the next few scenes will be like Eden tormenting Lily, essentially. Meanwhile,
Lily stalking the island.
Yeah. So funny enough, like Eden tormenting Lily and during the night, and Lily sort of pursuing Eden during the day. So it's like a back and forth thing. Where, because Lily is like, I need inspiration. Every time I see her, I get this burst of inspiration, like against my better judgment. I'm just going to keep showing up type of thing.
Okay.
Cool. So we can think about that.
I'm going to put a note here. I kind of want to do like, so if we are roughly going back, forth, we have an Eden and a Lily and another Eden. I kind of want like right here where we reveal is the demon. Like she's the sleep paralysis demon. So it's like, you don't know immediately, but you know pretty early, even if Lily doesn't know yet. Like you just start the POV and she's being the sleep paralysis demon, just like having a great time. Where
are we at with like, here on scene 12, where is the halfway point? Because I think that's when we reveal, right? That we reveal
the midpoint is going to be Lily finds the shrine.
Right.
They make out, but Lily doesn't know Eden has already killed her parents.
Right.
And Cyrus has his revelation of,
because when
demons killed his dad, and demons are Eden.
Right. Therefore. Yeah. When do we reveal to Lily that Eden is the void? Basically, that's going to be when she sees the shrine. Oh, or when
I think she kind of knows a little bit already, right? From their childhood.
Well, I think
something's up, right?
She's convinced herself fully that all of this was fake.
That's true. That's true.
So she has to be re-convinced. So when all of this is happening in the fun and games part,
it might be when they accidentally kill the prophet.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, oh shit, she's a demon.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a note here that says she tells Lily she's out of control, even though she's not. Right. She tells Lily this the second Lily realizes the demons are real.
Okay. Right.
So like 2 scenes-ish, 2 to 4 scenes before they make out.
Cool. Because I think like the halfway point is usually the big twist, right? So would would be when it's revealed that she's the void?
I think that's when it's revealed that she's like obsessed.
Okay.
And that's like the midpoint of their romance.
Okay.
Really.
And we've got the bad guys close in part.
Yeah.
So to speak, is the reveal. I don't know.
Yeah. So the bad guys close in. So at the midpoint, they make out, they have the midpoint of their romance, and then Lily finds out Eden has killed her parents. Right. And that kind of triggers some fighting between the two again.
Yes.
Which leads to Lily trying to kill Eden.
Yeah. I also think that's obvious when she knows that, not necessarily that she fully knows that she's the void, but like there's something going on with Eden, right? Like she's just, especially if she's done, like, I don't know if we discussed what she does to the parents, but if it looks supernatural, right?
Right now we have like, and this can obviously change because there's no rules. Right now we have like in the timeline, they accidentally kill Prophet Senior.
Yeah.
It becomes very clear that Eden has some sort of something paranormal going on with her.
Okay, cool.
Eden's like, I'm out of control.
Right. Can we write this down in this so that I can wrap my brain around when that reveal happens?
Yeah, it just kind of depends on how many fun and games how much fun and games we have.
4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe
just put like reveal, maybe, question mark or whatever.
Senior realizes Eden is for sure paranormal.
Yeah, I think like initially we have the realization that like something's happening in it. I can't therapize this away. And then something's up with Lily. Oh yeah, maybe something was up with her in our childhood too. Like it's a lot of stuff she's like reasoned away.
Yeah.
And then the reader is going to realize that maybe alongside Lily, and then you get the reveal from Eden's POV. She's just hanging out and sleep demoning it up. Cool. So what do we want to do going forward? Do we want to sit down and write the first couple of scenes this week or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to be out of town this weekend because I'm going to go see Des.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Jealous. So yeah, we could just sort of do so you're just out of town this weekend, or you're out of town for the week, or
just this weekend? So I'll leave Friday, come back Sunday, be back in time for the chat.
Okay, cool. Because your scene will be very short, I imagine, right, with Eden's mom?
Yeah, this first one's going to be pretty short.
yeah, we don't have to have we don't have any deadlines, so we can do this at whatever pace we like.
Now, maybe I'll message you my schedule and then we can work that out and maybe meet this week if you want to.
I figure we can meet whenever we want. Like, it doesn't have to be the same time we usually do, or we can do like a sprint or something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Cool.
It won't matter to anyone watching this because we will have already done it.
Yeah. Probably should not figure this out live.
But yeah, if you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this and want to be subscribed as we continue to work through writing this book together.
Yeah.
Let us know how your projects are going down in the discussion section. Nope, down in the comments. This is not a live chat. And yeah, we would love to cheer you on. Next week or next video, I guess, we're going to be working on the book.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Drafting.
Oh my gosh. So exciting.